Good morning, everybody. I had to start over because I got up and I ended up having to go get some water. Um, okay. Oh, Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to preach your word, to speak your words, to read your words. And thank you for anybody that watches these, that gets anything out of them. I pray that someone does get something out of them that'll help them. Please help me to reveal your heart as I go through your word today. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so we're starting off in John 4 now. Take my glasses off. I don't really need to see myself. So, verse 1 in John chapter 4. Now, when Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself did not baptize, but only his disciples, he left Judea and departed again for Galilee. And he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there. So Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about the 6th hour. I'll stop right there for now. So, for those that don't know, not John, Jesus, apparently he didn't actually do any of the dunking himself. He was only having his disciples do it, which is very interesting to me. I don't know why Jesus didn't baptize. I don't know what significance there is of that. I think I think maybe in part it's probably just something to do with the fact that God likes to partner with with people, you know. So, like God is doing the he enables us to do the work, but he wants us to go and physically do things to enact his will. Um, I think it's something like that. But anyway, so he leaves Judea and in Galilee, and he had to pass through Samaria. I don't have a map, but so he's starting here, he's going here, Samaria's here, he's got to go through. Samaria is a group of people or I don't know if it's like a city worth of people who used to be part of their Jewish heritage, but there was like a split. They got taken out of their area and paganized and then put back and paganized some more. And it was this whole thing, and they started worshiping idols and doing sacrifices, and I think they even sacrificed their own children and like did a whole bunch of nasty stuff. And they came from they came from the same stories, the same heritage and everything. So they know about Jacob and Abraham and all this stuff, and they still believe in the God of Israel. But they have their additional gods, I think is what basically is going on there. I did some research throughout the week, but it was it was not the easiest to find uh, all of the information that I wanted to find. I was also kind of trying to do it at the same time as doing other things, so you know that just goes to show how not great I am at multitasking. But I was going through that, and basically all that to say is that Samaritans, whatever, um, the Jews don't like them. the Jews think they have become this corrupted, perverted version of themselves, and they think that they are lower than them. They're thinking that they are doing so much better, in terms of obeying the law and everything else, that they are still the true um, people of God. And then the Samaritans are so much lower, and like dirty. So so Jesus is here, he's going here, Samaria is here. Usually what the Jews would do is they would go, nope, and they would go around it. But Jesus is going straight through. It says Jesus had to pass through Samaria. Jesus can do what he wants. I mean, he's literally God. But as we discussed in the story with the wedding of Cana, when Jesus tells Mary, woman, what does this have to do with me, or something along those lines, um, we discussed on how that wasn't him being rude, that was him submitting to the will of the Father. So the Son can do nothing without the Father um, telling him or giving his blessing or directing him, essentially. And I think that is kind of what is going on here. He could have gone around, but as we see throughout his Gospels, throughout his whole life, Jesus does not shy away from a challenge. He doesn't shy away from the unclean or the dirty or the disreputable. His mission is to lock in and target straight at those kinds of people. So I think that all together is why he had to go through Samaria to enact his father's will. So he came to a town called Sychar, near the field of Jacob that had been given to his son Joseph. Okay. Um, and for those that don't know, there was Abraham. God made the covenant with him. There was his son Isaac, that the covenant and blessing passed to him, and then Isaac's son Jacob passed to him, and then Jacob had a whole thing where he had a brother, and they were twins, and they had very different personalities, and Isaac loved his brother more than he loved Jacob, and then uh, Jacob's mother loved Jacob before, or more than the brother. So the family is like divided. He's like got teams, and at one point, uh, Jacob's mother convinces Jacob, and it didn't really take that much convincing, um, to steal the blessing, the firstborn's blessing that his older brother was going to get. And yeah, they're twins, but Jacob came out like second. And so causes this huge feud, and then Jacob runs away and ends up going and living away for a while, and then he ends up coming back. But while he's gone, he he dug a well because he met God in this place, and it was this very important thing that we're not gonna super dig into right now, but it was this huge important thing, right? It was this place where um, basically the Sumerians are like what was it called? I can't remember what he named the place, but it was like God is here, or this is where God dwells, or something like that. And so this is where they worship God in this land. I think this is where he had the dream of the angels coming up and down, or something. I think I talked about that before. So it's this very like, I don't know if the word is right, sanctimonious place, sacred to the to not only to the Samaritans but to the Jews as well. But since Samaritans live around here, Jews don't really go around there. So a little bit of a faux pas for Jesus to go there. Um, and it says, Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, because he's walking everywhere, and he's got the body of a man. He doesn't have God cheat codes. He's dealing with the heat of the sun and the sand of the desert and the donkey poop on the road. He's walking around in sandals. I don't know if you've ever walked a long distance in sandals. I have. It sucks. It really is a bummer. So he goes and he ends up sitting by the well. And did it say? It didn't. Hmm. I thought that he sent off his disciples somewhere else, but it doesn't say anywhere that he did. Well, let's keep reading and see what happens. So it was about the 6th hour. Also, the 6th hour, uh, I don't remember exactly what hour that is, but basically, it's the heat of the day. It's I think it's like noon. It's hot. The sun is beating down, it's scorching. Ain't nobody coming out to the well. Ain't nobody gonna be out there. But verse 7, a woman from Samaria came to draw water. There's a lot right there. So she came out to draw the water at the heat of the day. But why would she do that? Everybody else comes in the cool of the day to get their water, all the other women. But why does she go at the heat of the day? It's because something went wrong. Something is going on that makes her ostracized, so that she has to make that hard trek up to the well in the heat of the day, away from everybody else, either by choice, because she just doesn't want to deal with the gossiping or the questions or, the looks that people will give you. But either way, she is not favored. People don't like her. People don't want to be around her. She doesn't want to be around people. And then Jesus said to her, give me a drink. He's asking her, let me get some water. Oh, here it says, for his disciples had gone away to the city to buy food. Gotcha. Okay. So he did send his disciples down to go get some food from the town. And I bet you they were like, Jesus, could we not? I mean, okay. This is weird. Okay. So they leave and he's asking her for this drink of water. Now, this is a scandal at this point. Jesus is a single man. This is a Samaritan woman. They shouldn't be interacting, shouldn't, societally, anyway. But he's asking her, can you give me a drink of water? I mean, it doesn't really have a question mark. It just says, give me a drink of water. So, I don't know. Um, the Samaritan woman said to him, how is it that you, a Jew, ask me for a drink, or ask for a drink from me, a woman of Samaria? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. There it is again. Like, Jews have no dealings. They go around. They go the long way. This is a however many day trip. This is good, add a day or something, because they don't want to deal with them at all. And Jesus answered her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. The woman said to him, Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did his sons and his livestock. So, so she's saying, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But she's like, dude, who are you? And she is also coming at it with this mindset where all Jews think they're better than Samaritans. And so she's also a woman, which is even like there's Jewish men, Jewish women. Samaritans, Samaritan women. That's the mindset she's coming in, or not. She's thinking that's the mindset he's coming in with. So she's like, first off, why are you even talking to me if I'm so unclean just for being born where I was born? And secondly, you think you're so great. You think you're so above me. You even think you're better than your ancestor. She says, our father Jacob. He gave us the well. He made this well himself and he drank from it. And you say that you got this better living water, this mighty water, and you can't get a drink from this well yourself. You didn't even think to bring a bucket. Look at this guy. So high and mighty. And he's looking at her, he's like, okay, let's dig in. He doesn't shy away from some snarkiness. He doesn't shy away at all. Jesus said to her, Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. Oh, you know what? Let me just back up a second. She said, He drank from this well himself, as did his sons and his livestock. I think she's I think she's insulting him here. I think she's like I think she's telling him that this random guy she doesn't know, I think she's telling him you're lower than the cattle of Jacob. And I don't really know how um the heritage in terms of like uh hierarchy goes when it comes to the animals, but I have a feeling that the animals are always below everybody because they're animals, not people. But Jesus said to her, Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. Duh. Water only lasts for so long. I'm thirsty. I'm going to take a drink of water. In an hour, I'm going to be thirsty again. But whoever drinks of the water that I give him will never be thirsty again. The water that I give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. And now that piques her interest. She's like, What? So she goes, The woman said to him, Sir, give me this water, so that I will not be thirsty and have to come here to draw water. So she's taken it literally, you know, and and I think she's sitting here, she's so snarky. She's like, Oh really, hand on hip. So you got this water. Well, give me some. I don't want to come out here in the heat of the day. If you want to offer this water, prove it. Give me some. Jesus said to her, he didn't say, okay, all right, let me give you some living water. Let me teach you something. He said, go call your husband and come back here. I mean, it doesn't say back in the ESV, it says back in the LSB, but it said, go call your husband and come back here. Now, Jesus knows everything about this woman. He knows absolutely everything. The woman stops dead in her tracks, and she goes, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, you are in right saying, I have no husband. Or you are right in saying, I have no husband. At this point, she's like, she could either be like, how does he know I don't have a husband? Or she could be like, of course he knows I don't have a husband. I'm out here in the middle of the day where no other woman is at this time because it's not societally normal because it's hot. So I'm ostracized, obviously, and I'm a woman. He must think, oh, I'm a scandal or a prostitute or something like that, or some other kind of extra unclean level. No wonder I have no husband. And then he goes, for you have had 5 husbands, and that the one you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true. And so she's like, hold on, what? So now she's like, you know things. And she's like, dude, I'm talking to a prophet. She goes, sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worship. So okay, so now she goes into this theological question. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship. So maybe she's trying to get some kind of like some answer to God. I mean, prophets are like a phone to God, you know. Ask a prophet a question, and get an answer from God, and they get spoken through. Jesus said to her, woman, believe me. There's that woman again. This isn't a disrespectful term. In today's day and age, we would, if I walked up to a woman and said, hey, woman, they would probably take offense to that for whatever reason. It's just how things have changed, you know? Like it's like become a for whatever reason, it's become a term of disrespect and like putting down, and that's not right. Here, when Jesus says woman, who is the only other person so far that we've seen Jesus call woman? His mother. Jesus respected his mother. For sure, he respected his mother. And now he's giving that same exact level of respect to the Samaritan woman. Now, she doesn't know that, but we know that. So he's giving her respect. She has been snarky, she has been snappy, and she has been insulting. And Jesus is still giving her respect. Now she's trying to use him. She's trying to get him to prove her side, or to at least get an answer out of something, out of him. So she's trying to like seize the moment or whatever, but it's she's using him. She was all kinds of disrespectful. She never said sorry. She never said, "Oh, let me take it back" or anything like that. She's just like, "Oh, dang, so you know stuff. Okay, let me ask you a question." She's only thinking about herself. And he still gives her the respect of calling her woman, giving her that term of respect. Sorry, it's really dark in here. There, that's better. Oh, that's much better. Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. Now, ain't that the truth? You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. The Jews were Israelites. God chose the Israelites to reveal himself to everybody. Salvation is not just a thing. Like how truth is not a thing. It's not a concept. It's not just a set of facts. You might be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's literally what it is by definition. Look up Merriam-Webster's. Like, nope. Truth, love, salvation, they are a person. And that person is Jesus. That person is Christ. That person is God. What group was Jesus born into? What group did God choose for him to be born into? The Jews. Salvation is literally coming from Jews, from that group of people. So they have all of the scriptures and everything else and all the prophecies and everything. I don't know what the Samaritans have. I'm sure they have some written records of things, maybe, but they don't have everything that the Jews have. They don't have all the information. They have a mixed bag of different religions and things like that, and paganism and a whole bunch of bad stuff going on. But Jesus comes from the Jews. Salvation comes from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is here, and is now here, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. It's not about a location. It's not about a building. It's not about some mountain that's super special. God's everywhere. Why do you need to go anywhere in particular other than your own bed when you wake up, or your prayer closet at home, or the bus while you're on your way to work or school? You can pray to God, you can worship God anywhere. And you don't worship him with fancy flowery words. You don't have to. I mean, you can. I'm sure he likes you know, when we sing a song and everything else like that, but worshiping isn't just singing. Worshiping is literally, like, it's just doing the will of the Father. It's doing things as though you're doing them unto the Lord. So you can worship God while working. And I'm not saying whistle a tune while working. I'm saying you do it with God in mind, with thankfulness and gratitude and love, and do it as though Jesus is your boss. Be generous in your work. And that's worship. Are you good at your job and you're like, wow, I really like this job and everything. I want to do good. I want to do good for the people that I work for or with, or whatever. That's worship. That's literally worship. The woman said, I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called the Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. I thought it was an interesting thing that she jumped straight to that. She went from snarky, snappy, insulting, and rude to, oh, you're a prophet, let me ask you a question. And then he says this, and this is like, this is this goes against the grain of everything that the Jews believe. They think It's it's here in Jerusalem. This is the only spot. And she says, the Messiah will come. And so she's like, the Messiah's going to come. He's going to reveal the truth of all things to us. And Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. Her mind is absolutely blown at this point. She started off the day broken, scarred, insulted, hurting, and angry and snappy. She was born in the wrong place, born in the wrong family, made the wrong choices. She's gone through 5 men at this point, and now she's with a sixth man, and she's not even married yet, so she's now considered a harlot or a prostitute or whatever. I don't know if she actually is, but that's essentially how people look at her in her own town, let alone the holy fancy town of Jerusalem. So she must think that God must hate her. And she meets him at the well, doing the thing that she has to do in the heat of the day because of the mistakes she's made. And he came out of his way to see her. Maybe that's why he had to go through Samaria, because she was there. He wouldn't have met her any other way. He had to go there. There was another thing that I saw throughout all of this. People want to be known. People want people want to be seen for who they truly are. For who they are in their mind, in their heart. Not just the mask that we put on. And Jesus is reaching straight to her heart, straight to her soul, speaking straight to her. He knows everything about her. It says, just then his disciples came back. They marveled that he was talking with a woman, but no one said, what do you seek, or what are you talking, or why are you talking with her? You know, as any normal person would have done. They would have been like, yo, why are you talking to her? You're supposed to be this holy man here. You're supposed to be on the up and up. Why are you talking with this woman? This is scandalous. This, you know what this looks like? You know, to other people, this looks like some scandalous stuff is about to go down. But they keep silent because they're like, no, 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 we know better. We know better than to think that he would do something like that. The woman left her water jar and went away into town and said to people, come see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? I think I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there. She, in the LSB, which is more of a direct word for word translation, it says, is this not the Christ? So it's still in the form of a question, but it's more like her being like, here he, like, this is him. Doubt it? And she's saying, he knew everything I've ever done. That's amazing. He knew that she had 5 husbands, and maybe there was more conversation that we just didn't have recorded because it wasn't necessary for us. But she says, come see a man who knew everything I've ever done. everything I ever did. And she's jubilant about that. She's got no shame. Where did all that shame and anger go? It's gone. She met Jesus. He said, I see you. I see everything of you. I know who you truly are. And I'm telling you, you can meet God anywhere. And she just melts. Melts right in his hands. That spring of living water, I feel like he gave her that living water. And it did well up inside of her, because now she's out there spewing the gospel, spewing that living water over everybody else, saying, come and see, come and see, come and see. Come see a man who knew all that I ever did. And people think that what they do is what they are, or who they are. That's not true. That's not true. Jesus knows us on a level that we can't possibly communicate to other people. I want to be fully known by my wife, and my wife wants to be fully known by me. But we're not physically the same person. We can't read each other's minds. Jesus not only can he read minds, he gets information from the Father, the Holy Spirit, that we just don't always have access to. He's got constant, consistent access to it. God knows everything about us. He knows really what's going on in our hearts. He knows that when we make a mistake, he knows why. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly where the hurt is. He knows exactly how to operate. He knows exactly what will make us happy. He knows exactly what will make us sad. He knows everything about us. Top to bottom, head to toe, through and through, in and out, on a level that I only wish I could be understood by another person. I don't know if you guys have ever watched any of those shows online, or not online, um, like it has like autistic people or Down syndrome people or anything like that with some kind of mental difference, and the thing that they go through, like, is being misunderstood. They don't understand us, and we try to understand them, but we just don't. Not really. I mean, if you're within the family of the person, you can kind of grow to have somewhat of an understanding a little bit more. But even still, they they just don't. They're not there. But God knows. Jesus knows. He understands, and he also wants that same understanding. His whole life, his whole ministry, the entire library of the 66 books of the Bible is there so that we can know God. We experience pain that's hard to describe when we recognize that someone just doesn't understand us. And there's an even deeper version of that pain when we understand that someone doesn't care to understand us, when we want them to understand us, when we get ignored in a conversation, when someone looks over us or looks past us. God understands that feeling. Can you believe that? He had this whole conversation with her. This whole conversation with her, knowing that the cross was to come, knowing the pain and suffering he was going to have to bear. He did everything in his life knowing that that was going to come. And yet, even though multiple times he says something and people don't understand, He understands them. He knows why they don't understand. But he's experiencing that longing to be understood, that longing to be known, and seeing people just not get it, and other people just not wanting to get it, and seeing other people like her who recognize who he is, but in the process of learning who he is, of starting to recognize, she's just wanting to get something out of him. Now he came there to give her something, but it's like it's like going to someone's birthday party with a gift and they don't walk up to you and say, "Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming." They say, "Hey, where's my gift?" They don't care about you, they care about the gift. I think her perspective changed after the conversation, and she went away and said, "Come see a man who told me everything I ever did, who fully understands me, who fully knows me and accepts me and loves me even still." And yet Jesus was left sitting there, not fully known. I mean, she knew who he was, what his title is, what his purpose is. And she didn't sit there and focus on the prophecies of him coming as a conquering king or anything like that. She she just saw him as the one who was going to reveal God and reveal truth. And he did. And she went away ecstatic. And he was happy. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was like, awesome. That's awesome. But he went through that and everything else in his life, all the way to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he's praying to his Father. And he asks his friends, his disciples, his closest ones, to come with him and pray with him because he didn't want to be alone. I mean, he's going to talk with his Father, but he didn't want to be without his friends. And they didn't understand. And he's sobbing, he's sweating, he's in a dark place, a painful place. And he knows that they don't get him. And he still went to the cross. And he's still trying to make himself known. He gave us all of these thousands of years of knowledge, of wisdom, of stories, of things that have happened, so that he could be known. God is mysterious, beyond belief, beyond mysterious. No human can fully comprehend God. And yet, everything that he's ever done has been to show us that he understands us, that he knows us, and for him to be known by us. So, it's not about which mountain you're on. It's not about what city you're in. It's not about how fancy your church building is. It's not about how impoverished your church building is. It's about, do you know God? Because he knows you. And he wants it to be a two-way street. Alright guys, that's all I have time for today. But thanks for listening. Bye guys. Love you.